Hello everyone, and welcome to the First Light World Tour. First Light is this tiny little survival town I've got sprawling out below me here, and it's something I have been working on in my realm. This here is my survival realm I've got with a bunch of my friends for almost a year now, a few months shy of a year. And I just love this place so much. It's been so fun to see it all come together, and I've decided it is something worth sharing. So here we are, jumping straight into the world tour. Let me jump on down, and I think we should start with the main event, or at the very least, the first build of the entire area. Let me slowly glide on down into the farms, which is this here house. This one is my house, my starter house. It's a little extravagant for a starter house, but I love it nonetheless. I think it's perfect for a mare such as myself. We've got this nice little walk up to the house with these stone retaining walls, and here we are at this little humble mare's house on the hill. We've got a nice lectern banister, seats overlooking the farms area, and we can just head straight on in here. And on the bottom floor, we've got this big open living space. It's nothing too fancy, but I think it does live up to the theme of being the nice big mare's house on the hill. We've got this little one block drop down that exposes that stone foundation, which I think ties really well in with this chimney. Then we've just got this little reading corner over here, and over this side a little workshop corner where I do all kinds of crafting things. Little chair, coffee table, fireplace of course, and just around this corner here, hidden behind these little bookshelves, is a little secret trapdoor. I'll show you the rest of the first floor and then come back to that one. A tiny little cake corner with, of course, spare cakes. Just a little bit more decor. This one is the back door, which has this nice staircase descending into the town and a little back view over the area, which I just adore. Oh my gosh. It looks so nice with the shaders on. I'm so happy with how this place has come out, especially with all the little custom trees I've been adding recently and just the little bits of bush and grass work. This place feels so lush and alive now, and I'm so excited to show it all off. Let's head back on inside real quick. We've got this tiny little kitchen area, potion brewing corner with, of course, an infinite water source just down there, and a little kitchenette as well as a main crafting station, a bunch of barrel storage, and over here, hidden away under the stairs, my diamond chest. Now don't tell anyone about this one. It's a bit of a secret, so keep it a bit hush hush, but I've got this gorgeous spread right here. I had to make it feel lush and rich and decorative because that is exactly what I want the town to be as the mayor of this place. Heading on upstairs, we've just got a little display wall here, some armor stands, a little project book, and by little I mean I have a lot of ideas and I don't know if I'll ever build all of them, but I can certainly try. As well as this little office cartography corner here, which one of my favorite things about this is that you can actually just drop down that little back piece of the chair and it turns into the perfect viewing station for the town map we've got right here, which I just love seeing all my hard work sprawled out like that. It's so nice, and I have so many more things to add. Look at all this blank space around us. I'm so excited to keep on building here. Now, just over here as well is this tiny little storage nook. Now, this was my old storage back when I lived at this house, so it is out of use now, as well as this lovely little mayorly balcony, which I really loved and I had envisioned from the start. A nice back balcony where I, as mayor, could look out over my town and my people. There's Legolas over there on the Fletcher's keep. We'll get around to that at some point. But just look at this place. My gorgeous little town. Oh, I've worked so hard on it, and I'm so excited to see this place continue to grow and expand in future episodes of this little series I'll be starting here on the channel. Now, just next to the stairs here, we've got this little ladder that heads up to the final part of the house, my tiny bedroom, which is just this little loft, gates for a quick escape, triple triple keg layout, as well as a little reading corner and my triple bed here with a clock right above it so I can check the time, which we are actually pretty close to time to sleep. Oh, actually, one last thing that I nearly forgot about. Let's head on down the stairs and I will show you what's down that little trap door, which is, I mean, you've probably guessed it, given the books are a little bit of a hint, but it is my enchanting room. Just down the ladder and then down this little windy staircase into this little underground enchanting library, which I really, really love. I wanted it to feel a small bit extravagant. We've got this little potions corner on the left. Over here on the right, we've got our grindstone, our anvil, and our crafting table, as well as straight ahead, of course, the main event, my full level 30 enchanting table, which I just love. This lush little room. I love how warm and cozy it is down here. I love the touch of the redstone lamp. I just think it's super cute and I love coming down here to enchant whenever I do, which I haven't recently, but I do really enjoy. Now I will head back on upstairs and sleep, and then we can continue the tour from the morning. I love watching the morning sunrise over the farms area from my seat on the balcony. Up there behind my friend's doghouse. Now my friend lives here in this town with me, though all her stuff is kind of secluded to that spruce forest area over there. So that there is one of her builds, but the rest of this is my stuff. So let's get straight back into it after a lovely moment with the morning sun. I will never get enough of the sunrise and sunsets in this shaders. How pretty. Oh, and there's my little hot air balloon. So cute. I love it, I love it. Let's head straight back into it. So we've got this little bonfire out the front, nothing special, little bonfire cat. We've got a grill back there and a skeleton horse that, it's a long story. Basically a herd spawned in the orchard and have been scattering throughout the area ever since. He lives there now, and this is my little tree orchard. Just grass sprawling all the way back, bunch of spruce trees and oak trees, as well as a sapling chest, which shows just how much I have used this little tree farm. I do really love it. And we've got this tiny little log wagon right next to it with, of course, a log wagon cat. And then, of course, as well, these logs sprawling out towards the bonfire to kind of show that they're getting brought from the orchard over to the fire and burned up for all the campfire times to be had here. Now, on into the farms. I don't want to take too much time up here with the farms, so we've just got a bunch of these pretty organic crop fields sprawling up the hill, as well as sprawling out through this main farm area. We have one of every single crop, 2 of wheat and 2 of potatoes. And we can head on over here as well, which, pun not intended, we do have a little well just here with a ladder backup, very innovative, so whenever I am silly and fall in, I don't have to actually worry too much about getting back out. And here we've got this little cocoa bean canopy, which I really, really love. So simple, but hands down my favorite way I have ever grown cocoa beans. It's just so different from what I usually did, which is just those standing straight up jungle logs with the cocoa beans growing on them. I really recommend this. And I've just got this little touch of the acacia buttons underneath to bring in the color of the fully grown cocoa beans. And I just think it's turned out wonderfully. Let's head on this way, actually. Now the first kind of build out in the farms is this one here, which is one of my favorites. I just love this little cow pen build. I think it came out so well. It's so small, so cute, so simple, but so detailed as well. A little storage sprawl and another cat over there. And just in here, both my pigs appear to be having a bath in the trough. What on earth are you guys doing? Get out of there. That is not up to work health and safety codes. Goodness me. Alright. Anyway, I'll let him be. I guess they like swimming. We've got this little auto composter built in right here as well. And then of course this whole area for my cows, which I just adore. I think these have to be the happiest cows I have ever owned. They've got so much water right here ready for drinking, all this hay scattered about. And this big undercover area as well for any rain or storms that come by. They've got this nice place to shelter from the bad weather and a bunch more food, which they like climbing, apparently. But this is just my little cow pen, which I think is definitely one of the builds I will be doing a tutorial on because it's simple and easy enough, but also so cute, and I love it to pieces. And now just up the hill here is just a little buddy build for the cow pen. It's my little farm work shed. It's basically exactly the same design but switched up a little and copied over so that I've got a nice place to sleep and craft, stone cutter, grindstone, all of that when I'm working out here in the farms. Now all this other stuff up here, including that house in the back with those stripes of the spruce logs, is my friend's stuff, so we're not going to go too far into that. Instead, we're going to head around this way underneath one of my many custom trees with just this little seating area underneath, and to the Hall of Rainbows, my prestigious wool factory. Just over here we've got these little wool wagons ready to export all the goods from the factory, as well as a few pallets scattered about of more wool ready to go out to the markets. And this path just extends into an unfinished area where I plan to build a massive wheat valley. I'm thinking silos, granaries, I definitely want a bakery, a little farmhouse. There's so much I'm excited for back here, so stay tuned for that. And let's head on in to the Hall of Rainbows, which is my auto wool farm. Just look at this place. I love all the colors up there through these arches and all the warmth of this build. It feels so lush and lavish, and of course the carpet corresponds to the color of the sheep in the little pod. Some of these we've run out of shears on, but I'm also very full on the wool, so I haven't restocked. We've just got a few that I've been restocking the shears on, as well as this little crafting area up back. And up the ladder here we have this little business loft, if you will. I kind of imagined it like the CEOs, the management of the prestigious wool factory would come here to check in on business affairs, and then when they've made sure everything's running smoothly, come up here to discuss matters further, enjoy some cake, maybe a nice drink of wine from the keg there. And it's just a nice little loft with this gorgeous rainbow canopy. This is my favorite feature of the build, are just these little details of the hanging colors from the factory and the lanterns, this little pop of the bushes going through, and there up the end is just another little triple bed layout. I love the light coming in through all the windows up here as well. It's so pretty at sunset and sunrise. And right there you can see the ladder for getting up into that tiny little sleeping loft, but we won't worry about heading up there today. Instead, let's head back out under the canopy. I love the canopy. And we're gonna head over to the cemetery area next, I believe. Is this the balloon shadow? It is. Look at that. I love it. I just love it. Now, as you can see as well, we have a whole bunch of custom trees over there, which is part of this little custom forest I've been working on, and this tiny little custom front pond that runs off into some custom tunnels that go through town into the river I've built back there, but that's a whole other journey. Let's head over here next. This is my Nether Tower and cemetery build, which I do have an expansion plan for, maybe gonna add a church, but more on that another time. We've just got a bunch of headstones through here, which most of them are not claimed. I have not had that many deaths in my town, but we have had a few. Peter and Tony's graves are right here, my stonemasons who didn't so much die as fall victim to a chunk error. And we've got a few other graves scattered about. Who else do we have here? We have OC's grave, which is one of my friends who claimed the grave, so I just did it up a little bit. Over here is Esmerelda's grave. She was a puffer fish I bought from a wandering trader that used to be in the custom pond, and then I was performing construction on the custom stuff and she did die. As well as this grave over here for Mine's Cat 1.0, who died via Godsbane, which is in fact my sword. Now, I didn't mean to kill Mine's Cat before you go calling me a horrible person. He just got caught in the sweeping edge in the midst of a horrifying battle. I wish to not reflect further upon it. And this tiny little build here is just a little mausoleum. And this was, in fact, my little brother's little house. He had a cobblestone shack right here on the hill. So all this stuff is his. This is his bed and his storage. But I just asked if I could do it up a tiny bit, make it a bit more part of the cemetery build and everything I have here. And of course he said yes. So I've just got this cute little mausoleum tucked into the back of the cemetery. And the main event right here, the Nether Tower, which I actually think, let me get my fireworks. I want to fly away a little bit just to get the sun coming in behind it. I just love the sun coming in behind the tower. Oh, that's so pretty. One of my favorite views in this whole place is just the sunset behind the Nether Tower, which is this ruined little tower with the nether spewing out of it, a big portal, and of course it is in fact a parkourable piece as well. I designed it so that you're able to climb all the way up to the top. You just kind of have to know the way. You just have to be in the know, have the secret knowledge, which if I just shuffle on in through here. Oh, I'm not claiming to be super good at this. Shuffle here, do that one, and then all the way up at the top. Here we are. There's the sunset in the distance. So pretty. And of course we get this nice little view of some of what we've got happening throughout here in town. I just love it. Now it is getting dark, so I think we can head off into the forest and then I will sleep for the night. So in through here, this path turns into the custom forest I've been building up. It's not entirely finished, which you can tell when something's not entirely finished because there are torches. I don't like torches. Ever since lanterns, I'm a full lantern addict. So if there are torches anywhere, it's not a finished area. We've got this tiny little greenhouse build right here, which I just love having in the middle of this forest. I love how dark and moody it is, and the little glass details. Currently it's not very functional. It can just act as kind of a thoroughfare through here to get up that way, but I'm planning an expansion where I add, I think underground, just a little auto flower farm to give it a function so I have a good reason to visit it because it's so cute. It's too cute to not visit. And as well, just in through this tiny path, we've got this little tea garden watched over by our cat here, Farrier. There she is, look at her. Oh, so cute. So pretty. She sits on her little swing and guards over the flower garden. So cute. And we've just got this nice little table, cakes, seats, flowers everywhere, as well as a little path down to this tiny dock. This little rickety piece and the boat that goes all the way along. I can come into this tiny little river, which also functions as my vine farm. I come in here and trim all the vines whenever I need them for mossy things. And it goes around into this other custom pond, and then of course on the river straight into town, which I just love. Oh, it's just so pretty. Oh, the shaders make this so pretty too. Did I just? Oh, alright, let me sleep for the night and then get back to you. Alrighty, we are back and we're going to continue the tour by following this little side path around and going into town. This first build on the hill here is my cartographer's house, which if we duck around the corner, we've got the little paper sign coming out that way. It's a tiny little L-shaped build with a tower up the top. And just underneath it as well, in under the stairs, is my little paper farm. Nothing too fancy. Just a sugarcane farm with a bunch of sugarcane coming through, always overflowing, as well as it's actually got further sugarcane auto farms buried underneath, so it produces a lot more than just the 8, as evidenced by all these full chests. That thing has been running for a very, very long time. And let us head on up into the cartography house. It sounds like Gwen and Maddie are awake. Hello, guys. Oh, see, I've got the gates exactly for this reason. They're both absolute rapscallions. These are Gwen and Maddie, my 2 cartographers. Great trades. They have this just a little living space, a little bunk there. They used to have balcony access, but they've been barred from it because they kept trying to throw themselves off. It's out of my control. And we can just head on up this tower as well. And up at the very top in here is Augustus, the village nitwit. Trapped forever at the top of the tower, useless to me. Shame on you. That right there is Augustus. I have not visited him in a very long time, so it's kind of odd to see him about, but he has been trapped up there. I cured a zombie villager once, and it ended up as a nitwit, and that was when I was trying to get cartographers. Augustus was originally supposed to be a cartographer, but he failed me, and he failed first light, so he's up there forever. And over here on the left is my storage barn, which I love this build. It has served me very, very well for a long time in keeping all my resources organized. And it's where I do a lot of my crafting. I sleep here all the time. We've got a little cat guarding the door from any stray creepers. And all along the right here, I keep all my items. All along the left, all my blocks, as well as this little chest just for a bunch of extras, as well as these, which are for overflow. My netherrack is overflowed, so they go in the barrels there. All of that, as well as up this little ladder, just a storage and sleeping loft. A bed to sleep in, anvil to craft with, ender chest access, the whole works. And of course, the gates again in the fences so I can jump back down super conveniently whenever I need to. And I just love this little walk here down into town under the custom tree. I love how lush and grovey it feels. I love seeing the tower out there in the back, and then right here underneath this little awning, kind of connected to my storage, is my emerald vault, which I so love and so recommend. And so recommend having in your own worlds, because as mayor of the town, I always feel so rich coming to my glorious emerald vault to take out funds to go trading on the town, or to safely store away my earnings from a hard day's work. It's so nice to have here, and I definitely recommend building one of your own for nothing other than feeling very rich, because I certainly do feel rich. Also, I went iron broke for this build, and I have never truly recovered, so may my iron stores rest in peace. Now, along here, we've just got this tiny little piece of town wall with a side gate into the unfinished harbour area, as well as right here is my little bee farm. It is so cute, and I just love nothing too fancy going on here, but fancy things planned for the future. I'm thinking a big bee cave that will also serve as a passage through here to come out to the back, the north side of town, and I'm just gonna love running through it. And it's a super convenient passage. I've actually been using that ugly thing there quite a lot for getting about through town while I've been working. Just a little outhouse here as well, tucked away behind the fishing house, and over here my beekeeping house. It's even got this tiny little tower, so theoretically, if a bee were to follow the beekeeper into the house, they'd be able to fly out through the top. They wouldn't get trapped in there forever. And we've just got this little pop of the granite and the honeycomb in the floor. All my beekeeping supplies are kept here. And if you noticed, it was built into that little hill, which meant I could add this internal expansion, which I really do love. It's just this little flower farm with one of all of these 2 high flowers, so I'm able to duplicate them for bee breeding whenever I need. Bee breeding whenever I need, as well as this little spot to sleep and all the little honey details I just love. And that is what inspired me to create the bee cave concept, because I just want an excuse to use more of the honey and honeycomb blocks. They're so pretty. Such a nice touch, such a bright color. I just love them. Here on the right as well is the first build we ever had in town. So after I finished my house, we went straight to building this library here. Of course, because I wanted a mending villager straight away. Hello, Atticus. This is Atticus. He's my little library cat. He watches over the affairs down here in the lower story. And just down here as well, nothing too fancy, but another enchanting room in case I'm ever in the area or town and need one, and theoretically for the citizens to use if they wish to enchant anything. And we can head on upstairs. This one on the left is Gertie's room. Hello, Gertie. She is my esteemed mending villager and one of my chief advisors. She has been here for more than 600 hours. So we love her. We do love her. I hope she's been working hard, keeping happy. And over here on the right is Pierre, my lantern seller, one of the most used, possibly the absolute most used trade in the town. I have so many lanterns. And as well, we've just got this little spot for me to sleep up on this back wall, because I just love having places to sleep everywhere. Now let's head on down, and right here across the street from the library is Dink's house. Now this is just kind of a rickety little shack, nothing fancy, very, very small. It's even got a trash can right out the front to kind of capture the atmosphere. These are his two little sheep right here, but Dink is our resident broke guy. Which is kind of a mood, but I do so love him. He's been in here for ages, and he's just got this tiny little living space, dirt all over the floors, but he does sell shears, which I do quite appreciate, as I do have a wool factory to run. And he just had a really poor business model. There's no signage. He picked the wrong side of the river because the markets are right over there, and there is a nice looking wool shop right there with signage. He's just been upstaged. There's nothing that could have been done. Sorry, Dink. Love you anyway, Dink. And just over here as well, we've got this little fishing shop. The salmon sign, of course, tells you all you need to know, and we can just head up onto the porch, and in through here are Abigail and Jeremiah, my two fishing villagers, a little pop of the blue carpet, bunks to sleep in, and a winding brick chimney for all their cooking needs. Hello, guys. It's been a while. Alright. As well as over here, we've got this tiny little pier. I'm not 100% sure what to call this, but it is a little piece where they can come over here and fish into the depths of the pond beneath the falls for the best of items. Or do have a little fishing rod stashed away in there, and a cat to keep you company while you fish. And over here, the last little feature of this build, this is Rodney. He's my favorite of all my fishing rods. And just down here, we have this little AFK fishing room, which is my favorite of all of my AFK fishing rooms. It's just so warm. I love the feel. I love all the texture and detail down here, the oak trapdoors on the walls. It's just very, very nice. And this little pop of the blue to tie in with the bed and the cornflower. And of course, fully functional as well. I can always check the clock when I get back from a fishing session and hop right into bed if it's nighttime, so I don't have to climb all the way up and check. Super convenient. And just to finish up this little side of the river, over here we have Dodgy and his flower stall. Dodgy is more commonly known as the Dodgy Khajiit flower merchant. And he has some shifty deals. Don't trust this guy. Don't look at me like that. You know it's the truth. He's got that tiny little flower stand. I brought in the stone behind it just to add the contrast, because the spruce kind of faded away a bit with all the dirt behind it, and of course the custom tree overshadowing it. And I just love how this little corner came out. It's getting dark, so I might duck away and sleep, and then we can go off into the main area of town. Alright, good morning everyone. Look at that sunrise. It is time to head off into the main area of First Light. Straight across the river here, this central piece of the town is the town markets, which when I initially planned this area, I was planning 4 symmetrical stalls, and I am so happy I scrapped this because I love how it's turned out. The little central bell here on the right is our biggest stall, our farming stall. These are green bean, shallot and barley in whatever order they want to show themselves to me. My farming villagers, all of which have been cured from zombies and offer me exquisite deals. As well as over here, one level smaller, one villager smaller, we have Sintra and Sahara, my exotic wool traders, sponsored by the Hall of Rainbow's wool factory, of course. Which, of course, one of these wagons to bring the goods out from the factory. And over here as well is Bonk, my little butcher. He's got his best friend Momo over here, the only bunny I own. I was trying to bring a friend over with Momo, but when we were journeying across the Nether Bridge, the other rabbit happened to jump off and passed away. So Momo is the only rabbit I have, but they keep Bonk company, and that's all I could have asked for. And just over here is another build that I really love. This is the stonemason's house, which if you remember from the cemetery, Peter and Tony, this was their house. And it's the house that I believe has the realm's chunk glitch, because I tried to have a number of sets of stonemason villages in here and they just kept randomly despawning. So I've just boarded the place up, put up some signs saying, you know, rest in peace. We miss you, Peter and Tony, to commemorate the villagers that once lived here. And they just had this tiny little work area to come out. It was so nice seeing them here during the day. I really loved this build. Such a shame that it didn't work out. But also, I think it's super cute, all broken up. So I'm not too mad about it. I'm just a little bit upset. And here, right next to the markets, is this little diagonal piece running along next to the river. And this one is the market residency, which in theory is supposed to be where all the villagers from the markets would at night come here to sleep. They could maybe have a drink, enjoy the fire, read a good book. In the mornings or evenings, come out here and have a... Hello there. What on earth are you doing in there? Enjoying a swim, are we? Ah, yes, sir. Me too. We've got this tiny little dock area. Oh, what on earth am I jumping on? Ah, right here. This tiny little dock, and I just love that pop of the brick chimney as well back there. Let me hop back up and get back to you. Alright, anyway, that is kind of this little market residency build. Nothing too fancy going on in here, just a bunch of places to sleep for the people running the town markets. Now over here, as I mentioned when talking about Dink's place, is Lucy and Delilah's wool shop. They've got this nice... That's Catnip. Catnip is not supposed to be here. She's in fact supposed to be at her post over at the Fletcher's keep. But she somehow jumped off and has ended up in Lucy and Delilah's sheep pen. I'm not asking questions because I'm not sure I want answers, but we do just have this lovely kind of almost cave for the sheep to live in, and this nice little sign where the front door is. Now these villagers are trapped in here by the carpets currently, but I'm thinking I might change it back to the gates just because of this. There is a sheep in here, and I am not appreciating all the clutter going on in here. This is not how I wanted this to be, but I think it's a later problem. Isn't that right, Lucy? My two little shepherds in here, still super cute. Love having them there. I have a lot of wool coming in, so it's only fitting that I think I have 5 shepherds here in town. There might be more at a later point, who knows, but there are currently the 5. Bit cute. And just over here on the right, this is Cooper's shop, which if you can't tell by the sign and the name, he is our little chicken butcher. Here on the side are where I keep all of the chickens. This tiny little coop with the little nest and egg trick, which I think is so cute. And we can head on here through the front, and we've got Cooper's little shop right here. All, of course, chicken themed. And of course, I had to re-roll him a few times to make sure I could sell raw chicken to him, because he just had to fit right in. And he's just got this tiny little living space, nothing too fancy, as well as this little spot for me to keep everything I need for looking after the chickens. Just across the road here is one of my favorite builds. This is the Farmhouse, and you might hear me say my favorite build quite a few times because I do love so many of these, but this farmhouse here came out exactly how I envisioned it, possibly better. I just knew that right over the hill from kind of the farming area, I wanted this lovely homely house. I wanted a front porch, I wanted a wheat field sprawling around it. And right in through there you can see my 2 farmers who live here. Let's head on up onto the porch. Hello guys! These are Frypan and Rosemary, my lovely farming couple. Frypan's a bit of the man of the fields, you know, he buys the wheat from me. He's always out there looking after the crops. And of course over here as well we've got Rosemary, and she's just lovely. She bakes bread and pies and cookies, super sweet lady. And if you didn't notice as well, a little trick with these kind of stall designs I use is if you put that little trapdoor in the middle, I could theoretically use this to get in and out, but it means I risk letting out my villagers. Instead, what I can do is I can just jump up and crouch, and I can get in and out freely without ever risking getting them in and out, which I love. And these are the two composters that are their job blocks, which I really, really like, and it kind of creates this screen between their living area just in through here. Don't ask questions. I don't know anything about that. It wasn't me. And we have a just lovely little living space for these two lovely farmers. Oh, excuse you, Rosemary. Sorry for the mess. And of course, a little bell so customers can ring it if they're both out in the fields, so they know they've got a customer and can come straight back in and serve them. And if we just head on upstairs as well, I thought, what better house to include a bit of a guest room in than the farmhouse? So I turned this upstairs area into a bit of a player guest room. We've got this little storage sprawl all throughout it, and then just in back here, the little player guest living areas, anvil, ender chest, fully stocked furnace in the corner, brewing stand, extra coal, the whole 9 yards, all ready to go for any visiting players, which I just really love including, especially in such a homely build. It just felt right. See you two later. Let's head around. Where shall we go next? Let's head over to the toolsmiths, I think. I just love the god rays. This one here as well. These are the town mines, which I dug out a very, very long time ago and have not finished detailing, if you can't tell from this whole mess. I've got it all dug out and most of the archways finished, but this front area right here, as you can see, has a lot more of the texturing, the bushes, the detail that the whole rest of the mines is lacking. That is going to be a later project, and all this stuff here is just materials from digging the place out, property of the Tunnel Detailing Corporation. That is a worry for later. This is Minescat 2.0, by the way. Minescat 1.0 was exactly the same color, exactly the same station, and a skeleton came running down from the hill, and it all went south from there. And right next to the mines here as well, we've just got this little toolsmiths build, which I really love. We've got this nice awning with 2 ways up onto it for convenience. Spare pickaxe storage, which I have bought from Stella and Dimitri, who are our 2 toolsmiths right in here. They've just got this nice little piece blocking them in there, and a little working shelf and a bunk for them as well. Oh, and this nice little tool display case, which shows a bunch of the tools that these guys sell, and the little fireplace, a few stray chains just to add some detail, and I really love how that came out. Now, I think last build before I have to go sleep, let's head to the leatherworkers. Actually, first, let me just appreciate this little corner of town. This is probably the richest little district in the town, which is our leatherworkers here, weaponsmiths and armorers up the back. The first little one here, this is Taylor's shop. She is our leatherworker just in here, again with the little stall design. There she is sleeping. And just a few little armor stands, a little splash of carpet, and this tiny little back door, which leads out into her cow pen, which has access to the main path through that area, as well as access out the back to this tiny little clothesline I did up for her, because I just thought I would love for her to have a clothesline. And it is as well in this tiny little lush back garden area of this rich spot in the town. We've got a bunch of nice seating, some cake to enjoy, and this tiny little back path that comes out into this little grovey corner, which has as well this nice little swing hanging down from the tree, and this is where the river actually intersects with the town. I was initially thinking of terraforming out the area so the wall would be entirely on land, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized it would be so nice to just have this little lush, watery, overgrown corner of the town with the moss and stuff crawling up the stone foundations here, this leaf build-up along the edges from leaves falling down into the trees, as well as, let me show you this little secret, You can jump down into the water, and we have this tiny little broken grate right here, which is perfect for getting into and out of the town in this corner area, because we've got the main gatehouse along this wall, which is just this piece over here. Oh, they haven't seen me, it's fine. And a side gate over there, but if you're right where I am and you want to duck into town without having to go all the way around, or you've got zombies chasing you, you can jump straight back down and swim through the grate, and they will have no idea how to follow you. Very secure, and I love that. And just these little custom trees, the little swing, I just think it's a super cute touch to the town. Alrighty, hopping straight back into it, let's head to the right first, and this build I have here is the Armrest Shop, which is a bit more than just an armorer's shop, and one I really love, which we can head on up straight into it. We've got this nice little piece of the carpet leading up to the crafting station, crafting table, place to upgrade armor, all of that right there. And then on the left here, a Clink and Clank, the Armorer Brothers, the golden duo of the town. I sell a bunch of great armor and chainmail, which I love getting to use on my armor stands. As well as right over here is my little incinerator with, of course, the campfire under it for the smoke effect. Super cute tucked into the corner here, and really nice to have a good fancy spot to incinerate all the things I do not want in my inventory. And just over here on the right is my auto smeltery. It's not one of the fancy ones with the minecart, but it is perfectly functional for all of my needs. I've got a bunch that's come through in here at the moment. It's just lift up the trapdoors to check on the coal stocks in the back there, put items in at the top, and these are two independent auto smelters, so you do have to keep an eye on them individually, but I keep them fairly evenly stocked and used, so I never have issues with that. And we just have this tiny touch of coal stores on the side, and a little bit of the coal where it's fallen when I have been shoveling it up into the furnaces. I really love little details like that, so I had so much fun doing this place. And of course, you'll never guess what's up the ladder. It's a sleeping loft, as well as some diamond armor storage, because it just didn't really fit in with the color scheme anywhere down there, but I brought in the blues with the bed, the carpet, and the flower, and now the diamond armor kind of works here. And I've also got this tiny little window to peek out into the town, which I just love. I just love the view of this place. I love flying over it. I go through so many fireworks. Let's head back out into it. Nothing fancy around the corner, just that side gate I mentioned, and another little outhouse over there behind the farmhouse. And then we can head around to these last two builds on this side. We've got the Weaponsmiths right here, which is a very warm toned build, and I really love the roofing design I used for this one. The blinding sun up behind the chimney there, but it's a bunch of different blocks. We've got the strip dark oak, the strip spruce, the spruce plank, and the spruce stairs, just really bringing in the texture, as well as these little bands of the dark oak. I just hadn't used a design like that before, but I really liked how it came out. And we can head on in here. This guy must have spawned in here, because I have no idea how else he would have gotten in, and he's clearly in a bit of a pickle. We've got this nice little weapon display stand, exactly kind of what I had in the toolsmiths area, and these are Vin and Kelsia, my two weaponsmiths. Vin is the apprentice of Kelsia, the master weaponsmith. They've got this little kitchenette, a tiny little balcony looking out into that lush grove, and this little sleeping area here with their cat, Misty. If you know the reference, you know the reference. They're very cute, and some paintings on the wall, a nice little rich spot for them both. And I just really love it. Nothing too fancy, but I think just perfect for them. Now, here's the little gatehouse as well. These walls took me a ridiculously long time to build and texture, but I just think they are perfect for the town we've got here. They don't stand out too much, but they bring in that touch of the spruce, and they just make the whole area feel very defensible and just cute. I just think it's super duper cute. Let's head back on in, and the last little build over here is this one. This is our Fletcher's Keep, which just there we've got Jimmy Falcon up there. Catnip left her post. I may have to deduct her wages or something over that because she is not on duty when she should be. Just out back here we've got this little target range. Nice custom tree overhanging it, that piece of the wall climbing the hill there, and this turns around as well straight into the keep itself. We've got this tiny little downstairs area, some armor stands, some crossbows that drop down right there, and the ladder to head up onto the second layer, which is where we have this gorgeous walkway and our job blocks for our 2 Fletchers. Shout out to Catnip, who I'm going to have to get back up here somehow at some point, but I really have no idea. And this here is Jimmy Falcon, our other Fletcher, who has remained on duty, thank goodness, as well as just in here we've got the little beds for them, and we can head on up to the top where, as I mentioned before, Legolas, Master Marksman, watches over the town. His aim is better than any others. He will take care of any bad guys in the area before I have to lift a finger. He is always watching over the town. Thank you for your service, dear Legolas. What a surprising response from the man. Alright, let's head on back down into town. And just around this corner over here is the path up into the north side, which winds around here. And I love this little upper area of town. I love how closed in it makes that lower section feel. Right here on the right, this is the build I did the interior of most recently. This is Susie and Joan's home for all, which is in fact my villager breeder house. The breeder is underground, but I just really wanted it to be super bright and sunny and happy and colorful. Anyone that needed a family, a home, a place to stay could come right here to Susie and Joan's and be welcomed with open arms. We've got all these little mottled scattered carpets of various colors, a nice little fireplace and a seat by it, a kitchen area, some crops growing, tables, flowers, a back balcony looking out further into this side of town, another one of these sunflower banners which I found the design for online and just loved. I had to include it in this build. And as well, we can head on up the ladder right here, and this is where Susie and Joan reside. We've got this lovely little upstairs area with just a bunch of beds. I wanted a lot of bunks. I wanted it to be very livable. I would love to add more villagers here at a later point. I just haven't quite done that yet. And up here as well, Susie and Joan's beds. Technically, they can't actually get up here because then they wouldn't be able to come back down, but I do love those 2 little beds up the top. These are Susie and Joan. They're usually in here during the day because they're farmers. This is their little farm. I just love their cute little straw hats. And these are their composters as well. We've got this tiny farm built into the roof. Super lush and colorful, just like everything else in the area. And I just love how this place came out. I love the little sunflower banners. I want to use a bunch more banners in town after how nice I think this place turned out. They just add so much. I think they're wonderful. And the secrets of Susie and Joan's house lurk just around the corner. That little touch right there might allude to what they are. But just down here in the cellar, which I probably shouldn't have closed behind me, we have this unfinished staircase. Please don't judge me. And just down through this gate is Clarence's basement. Now, Clarence, this man right over here, is my esteemed business partner. And by that I mean he is the zombie who gives all my villagers from the breeder the spruce stare treatment, and those that survive, which according to Wiki is 50%, but according to mine and Clarence's feelings is about 80% die. I just feel like I've had a lot die. Look, I'm not that upset about it. Clarence can't help it. He's a bit of an emotional man. And we of course filter the villagers in from the breeder, which is just down this bubble elevator. It is not decorated at all, so I won't head down there, but they do come up through here. I push them out onto the railway. They get stopped in front of Clarence. He gives them a little bit of a softening up, and those that live will come over here where they will wait for me to declare it nighttime, where I will run them out to whatever area in town I wish to have them live, where I will cure them, and then I will have all of the stonks I need, thanks to Clarence, my reliable business partner. At least he's never left me. He's been there for quite a long while. And it is just getting dark. The sun is setting over the town. It's just so pretty. It's just so cute. I love the sunset in this shader pack. These are Project Luma shaders, by the way, for anyone wondering. They are outdated and they have a bit of a weird campfire block texture, but I just love them anyway. Nothing for me has managed to beat the sun flare, the water, the vibrant, warm colors. I just love it. I just truly do. Now, here on the left as well is my Clerics Tower build, which is of course the place for my 2 cleric villagers to live. Just in through here, lots of little herbs, a tiny little fireplace, and in here in the stairwell, this is the cleric apprentice, Ori. She sleeps under the stairs here and grows all her herbs up on the stairwell here. Nothing too fancy. And up this little ladder, let me head on up. This is Merlin. He is our master cleric. He sells ender pearls, which Ori does not. He's got this nice little area for brewing all his magical potions. And up at the very top of the tower is his little herb garden. It's got all the fresh air, the sunlight, the perfect conditions for growing all kinds of fantastical mushrooms and flowers and other herbs and spices. And of course, a wonderful view down into the town. I just love it. It's just so pretty. There's the moon rising in the distance. We've got that gorgeous little streak of the Custom River, the Iron Golem, who is still having a swim. And I think it is time for me to have a sleep and then get back to the tour. Another beautiful sunrise in the town of First Light, and we should head straight back into the tour. So right next to this here build, the Cleric Tower, we have the Brew House, which is another little spontaneous build that just kind of showed up next to the Cleric Tower one day and is supposed to be kind of a little bar on the hill. Nothing too fancy about this one. This here is Gavin. He's our bartender. He sells drinks, so, you know, customers would come in, buy their drinks from Gavin here on the bottom floor, and then head on upstairs to enjoy them in the lounge. We've got a few little seats scattered about. This is Cleo, the bar's most dedicated patron. Hello, Cleo. Cute. And a few little bits and pieces around. This is our balcony. We've got a little leafy canopy and a wonderful overlook of the harbour, which was the main concept for this build. I wanted a bar with a nice harbour overlook, and I thought it fit so well next to the Cleric Tower. As well as just here, my favourite thing about this build is just this little pillar. Usually when I do staircases like this, I just do a log going straight up, but I wanted this build to feel a bit more magical and whimsical, so I brought in this purple and magenta stained glass pillar that I think captures that perfectly. We can just head on downstairs as well, nothing fancy. This is supposed to be just a little staff-only basement, beds for them to sleep in, a little unfinished cocktail recipe book that I want to include a few potion recipes in. And that is basically the Brew House. Now, right next to the Brew House over here, this is the build that says the most how much I enjoy the Red Dead Redemption game series. I was playing a lot of them right before I built this, and I think it kind of shows. Just over here we have Pecan and Percival hitched up out the front of the build, as well as just around the corner here. This is Oatmeal. He is my traveling snack stash mule. And just up on the train platform we have this big open plan station, this big arches to walk straight through it out onto the train platform, where we'll find an unfinished railway because I ran out of iron while I was building it. We've got a few little seats to sit on, wait for the train, hang out here, and just over here as well is our little ticket clerk's place, which also has that overhang and access from out on the platform. There are just a few little cats in here waiting for their trains, which I really, really love. And this does have a door and gate access, but I don't want to risk letting Alden out, so we're just going to jump in through here. He's our wonderful little tickets clerk. He sells lanterns just like Pierre, sells name tags, and accepts paper for money, which is awesome because paper is in fact our train tickets, which I think is wonderful. Isn't that right, Alden? Also, I picked him to be a librarian, mostly because of the little red hat. But I thought it worked so well to have a little station ticket guide written up right there so that it fit into the lore to have the lectern there. Just down here as well, this is our little post office clerks, sleeping quarters and storage area. Just got a few bunk beds, a clock on the wall to keep an eye on the time, and storage for parcels and mail coming through the area, because this is kind of very Red Dead inspired, so of course the train station clerk is also a post office clerk. It's the double function, if you will. Now let's head back on around this way and down into the harbory area, which this is all a very unfinished area, but I'll just show you a little bit of what we have here so far. This little build right here is just a docked storage house, nothing too fancy. We've got a little bit of a storage sprawl next to it as well, and inside just more storage scattered about. And this little trade manifest, which was written back when I only had 20 villagers. But the intent of that is like, this is a warehouse where I bring a lot of my goods out from the town, ready to be shipped out and exported. And that would be my trade manifest with lists of all the goods that we have within the town, but I'm basically going to use that book to summarize a lot of my villagers' trades, so it'll be really easy to overview everything if I'm looking for something specific. Now just over here on this first little dock is this tiny boat. Now this one is not my design. This is an Gold Robin Minecraft Builds boat design, though I did just change a few things. I brought in the dark oak, where in the original design it was just standard oak wood. And I changed up a few of the little pieces of interior decor here. I added a bed, and I've got another little lectern trade manifest for one of my friends' towns up the river. It is currently unwritten, but that is the intent there, so that would be my merchant boat to head up there and trade with her. We don't have too much else around here. This is that side gate that connects back into the B area. This is my tiny little mushroom cave, which actually naturally spawned with this little tear in the earth and this tiny overhang, and I just loved it, so I kept it, and I grew my red mushrooms right down in there. And now everything else in this area is basically unfinished. There's no grass or bushes along all of this. We've got a tiny little shrine here, which I just love that view. It would be even nicer with a touch of grass, but you know, I will accept it. And unfinished bridge, none of the stone texturing, as well as obviously this whole harbour area has a long way to go. There's so much I'm excited to add and change with all of it, but let's just skim past that and head on down this way. So right over here, if you didn't notice, is another little feature. This is the Smuggler's Cove, which follows this little water channel in through here, and this is kind of supposed to be my player boat parking cave, if you will. I wanted somewhere to park my player boats because I wasn't sure if they'd work too well just parked out along the docks. So I thought, why not build a little smuggling cove where they can be parked in here a bit out of sight, and also something super cute lore-wise. I do want to expand this back a bit and add some more like on the stone ground with a bit more storage scattered around, but I do think it's coming along really nicely thus far. And then we can just head on up the hill and over the top of the cove to my lighthouse / docks watchtower. I've never been too sure what to call it, but I do know that I really, really like it. It has got to be one of my favorite towers I have ever built. I just love the way the dark oak comes all the way down through the supports, but it's still very wood-based watchtowery. It's not too grand of a structure, but it does feel quite elegant almost. I love all of the hanging lanterns, of course. I love the barrel detail, all the trapdoor action. I just think it turned out super, super well for what I was trying to accomplish with it. And of course we can head straight on up this little spiral staircase, and right up here at the top, nothing too fancy, I've got a station to craft at if I need to, a bed to sleep on for when I'm up here, and a little crossbow so if I need to shoot any unwanted merchants or people coming in to town through the waterways, I will be able to do so. As well, we've just got these two little bridges built out crossing these two stretches of land. This bridge has got to be my favorite bridge in the whole town. It's not only the biggest, I love the hanging lantern detail, and I just love all the texturing, the moss coming up out of the water. I think it came out so well, and I had to do quite a bit of terraforming to pull it off the way I wanted it to, which I still do need to do a bit of terrain detail around there, but I love how it's coming along thus far. And just here we've got basically the same design that I use kind of everywhere in town here, which is just a rail bridge version where I've more or less flattened the whole thing out and just tried to have it super convenient and nice for minecarts to go along. I wanted it to clearly not be a standard footbridge like the other ones are. Now that's most of what we have out here in the docks and harbour area. It's not getting too dark yet, so let's fly around here and quickly visit the Unfinished Adventure Guild, which is this build right here that I am so excited for. It backs onto the Wanderwoods, which I thought was just perfect. I love that pop of the green through on the second floor, and that roof is something that matches really well with the Weaponsmiths place. Now over here we have this little quest board which I'm planning to move over there because I don't like that it blocks the view of the guild, because I do really like the guild. And just in here we have a very unfinished interior, but I'm planning a little enquiries desk, mess hall, kegs, upstairs I'm thinking guild bunks, all of that, and then on the floor above like a guild master's room. Just here as well is my expedition map, which used to be up where the town map is now in my cartography corner. And right there you can see we've got First Light. There are those bridges along the river. I love getting to watch it grow. This used to be a much, much smaller little spot on the map, but it's slowly taking over the area, and I'm so excited to see it take over even more. And nothing else fancy upstairs, so I might duck away, wait to sleep, and then start back up again with the gunpowder mill right through there. Alright, and the last little build in this north side area of the town is this gunpowder mill right here, which we can just head on over the bridge. We've got this little bomb shop on the right. This is Tina's bomb shop. Super cute. I love the little metal mask she's got there. I thought it was perfect for the demolitionist theme, and nothing too fancy about it. I did have a horrible accident working on the build that put a massive hole in the ground there, so this is the second bomb shop. But I do really love it, and I think it works perfectly with the gunpowder mill theme, which this is the First Light gunpowder mill. The interior is not entirely finished, but I do have quite a lot happening in here. We've got this little stone walkway that comes out over the waterfall, and this all kind of machinery area where the gunpowder gets refined from all the materials around here. We can lower this section to activate the crane, bring up coal from the smeltery down there, or lower logs down to get turned into the charcoal we need. And then we can put that back up as well. We've got a lot of walkways included in this build. This one heads down onto this piece of land so I can access it from that way. Oh, and this is the little water channel that feeds water into the wheel there, which the wheel powers our refinery machine, which is this big one here. It turns this belt right there, which is the wheel right there. If I head on out through here, wheel turns, turning wheel, turns belt, turns majiggy that powers crushy majiggy. It's all very scientific, I assure you. And then we can just head on down here, and this is that bridge you saw as part of the mines, which I'm thinking I want to redesign. I'm not sure I like the arch of it for this particular thing. But this heads down to my creeper farm, which is exactly why it's a gunpowder mill. Hello, Tango. We have a bunch of cats down there. They're my mine's employees. But let's head on back up because there's nothing fancy about that. It's all just an unfinished mine. And let's head out over here. We've got this gorgeous road that cuts straight through the Wanderwoods. I really wanted like a back road cutting through the woods that was kind of a bypass of the town, which is exactly what this is here. All the dark oak trees just covering over the path, as well as these bridges here, which connect us straight back up to the Gatehouse and the main area of town. We've got this little signpost here, which I think I'm going to need to add a lot more signs to eventually, but for now we've just got the Wanderwoods and the stables, which tells you what is right here. This is the town's stables area. We've got this nice little field for the horses that also I can walk straight in and out of, which I love. And this is the stables build, which is super, super cute. This whole area is one of my favorite spots in town to visit because it's so simple, yet so detailed. We've got all the trapdoor action, a bunch of little buttons scattered in, super broken up and textured, even a bunch of floor texturing all the way through it. A heap of stalls for our horses, hay storage, more stalls for more horses that I don't have yet, and this little back room, which would be our stable hands room. And it is also where I store a bunch of leads and a bunch of saddles for working with the horses, and a great spot for me to come and sleep in the area, which is essential, of course. And then right across the road is... Are you all right there? Okay. Alright then. This is kind of a buddy build for the stables. This is our Farrier's workshop. Now, this build basically came about because I was looking for somewhere to put the anvil over in the stables, and I couldn't find anywhere that worked, but knew I wanted to be able to name my horses out here without having to run back to use an anvil. So I created the Farrier's shop as a spot for my anvil so I could name all the horses as I bred them up, and it also became somewhere for me to keep my horse armor. And just in here as well, these are my two farriers. These are Charles and Arthur, the town farriers. They've got their little cauldrons right here because they are in fact leather workers, but I just thought the aprons were perfect for the theme. And they're not fully leveled, but being able to sell saddles and stuff out here would be great, as well as us only having one leatherworker, Taylor, in town. I just thought it was perfect. So they've got this nice little living area in here. Super decrepit, just like the rest of the area. But I think that's part of what makes this area so charming. It's just so detailed. I think it turned out super cute. Now, just down here is just a little environmental feature. This is our water pulley. So I was thinking about how the horses would get all the water they'd need to stay hydrated, because hydration is important, and we've got this tiny little water pulley design so that you'd be able to come down here, activate the pulley, get buckets of water out of the river, put them in these little water wagons and wheel them up to the horse area where we'd be able to put them into the water troughs and such. We've got one up here ready to go so that the horses can all stay hydrated. As well as another little feature of the area is you may have noticed all the little wagons. We've got a big wagon bay around the side, and this is where all the wheat for the horses would be getting brought in, which you may have heard me briefly talk about the Valley of Gold wheat project that I want to include out past the Hall of Rainbows. These wagons would theoretically be coming out from the Valley of Gold, bringing all the wheat and hay the horses could ever need, and it would be getting stored in these little silos I've got here. We've just got the two of them, a bunch of hay scattered around, and they are actually functional hay storage as well. I would love to build more of these and genuinely store all my hay bales in them, because we can climb right on up them, and right down in here is a bunch of my hay bales. Now I ran out at this level, so that's how full it is. But of course you can dig straight down into it. It's all hay bales all the way through, and when I get more, I'm hoping to fill more of these silos, and I want to include even more silos out at the Valley of Gold so that I can use them all for all the hay that I'll be getting in from that project. And if you'll notice, we have a bunch of things leading to areas without things built. We've got so much coming up here in First Light. I'm thinking a berry winery project out this way across this bridge. I'm thinking a quarry project over there. In fact, let's head on up to the hot air balloon once more, and we can finish off this little tour from exactly where we started it, which is this wonderful little hot air balloon build I did not too long ago. We've got a nice little gradient all the way throughout it. I missed. Now it also does have this little feature where if I can't actually land on it, I can land on top of it, and most of these have holes where I can do that to get into the balloon. It's very nifty. And we've got this little bed to sleep on up here, as well as a bunch of crafting capabilities. We've got anvils, cartographer's house, what is it? The cartography table. And, you know, stone cutter, chest storage. There's a crafting table somewhere. Yep, there it is. And nothing fancy up there. There are those two trapdoors I dropped down from. Of course, the fire to power the balloon. And that right down there is my gorgeous little town. I just love it, and I'm so excited to see everything I want to add. We've got the Valley of Gold right here, the Wheat Valley project I'm thinking about. I want a church here, a cemetery expansion. The whole harbour project, I'm thinking an autumnal pumpkin farm maybe over here. The Wanderwoods project way out there, the quarry, the berry winery. There is so much coming. Thanks so much for coming along and watching the tour. If you haven't already, hit the like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what upcoming things you are the most excited to see in this world. Maybe I can get around to those first. And also let me know if any particular build stood out to you and you are just dying for a tutorial on it, because I can absolutely try and do those up for you, prioritize getting those tutorials out in case you would love to see any of these little builds in your own world. There is so much more coming, as well as for the release of 1.17, I think I will be starting a brand new survival let's play where you will get to see me build something maybe even more amazing than this from the ground up. So thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day or night, whatever it may be. Stay safe, stay happy, stay kind. Much love. See you next time.